5 Minute Salute. I'm your host, Chris Budihas, and joining me remotely from Nassau County is Rich Dromerhauser. And then we got up at Nassau County also is Tony LaVecchia with the Military Officers Association of America, better known as MOAA. Rich, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Chris. Thank you.
No, I appreciate it. Tony, as always, good to see you.
You as well, Chris.
Awesome. Hey, so Rich, you did a lot of great stuff in the military. So let's just give the audience like a 30 seconds on you. Where are you originally from and what you do in the military?
Originally from New York. Went through the Annapolis Naval Academy and went straight out to be a surface warfare officer, basically the deployment and employment of ships.
Yeah.
Did that for about 30 years and just had a wonderful time, saw the world.
That's excellent, man. And hey, thanks for your service to the nation, both you and Tony. Obviously, if you guys didn't do what you did, we couldn't be here today. So let's talk about MOAA. So what is MOAA and why did you join?
Well, MOAA is the Military Officers Association of America. And I actually started while I was still a student in Annapolis.
Wow.
To go in and learn about the program. I mean, it's been around since 1929. So, and I didn't graduate there in 1929, but little later, and it had developed, and I had heard about it and kind of kept my affiliation going. And when I retired in 2020 and settled here in this area, joined the local MOAA chapter. And I mean, why do you join? And you think about all those things. There are many things that are incredibly important to our uniformed service members.
Yeah.
And how else can you get, an opportunity in a forum to do that kind of advocacy for benefits for veterans, for the families, for those uniformed service members? So that advocacy piece was a big draw for me. I would say the second is, there's a community aspect to be able to show what we've done. I mean, this is an area, I think, lot of strong military, 3 main bases down here for the Navy.
Yeah.
But again, to be able to show folks, hey, our retired community has a lot of activities that are there. I mean, MOAA has always had 2 main charities. One being a scholarship for our uniformed and our veterans for their children, and the other is again for the uniformed current and retired veterans to really help their families in times of crisis. So those are 2 things that to be able to give back to the community is truly important. And I'd say the third is camaraderie. Yeah. You want to be able to feel connected. When you come to an area, those shared experiences are incredible, and you start talking to folks. And quite honestly, anyone who has served, whether it's an initial tour or a full 30 years, you walk away with extraordinary experiences. What's the crucial part? It's not the experience itself, but who you share it with. And when you've got people who've gone through something maybe not exactly the same, but a shared experience similar, serving the nation, that really just makes you feel connected and understood. And so those are the important parts for me.
No, I appreciate that. And I love your testimony, the fact you joined, as a cadet, essentially, and then you went through the ranks, as part of the association. And back in the day, when I came through, there were certain things you had to be part of, like the Officers Club, the different, like when I was in the Marines, the Marine Corps Association, then later in the Army Association. So this is one that is truly all the things that you identified to include, taking care and securing our benefits. I've seen up on the Hill when I was aide de camp to 2 different 3-stars, MOAA had a strong presence up there in a good way up on the Hill, talking to our representatives to make sure that, our veteran population is taken care of. And I really appreciate, as a MOAA member myself, knowing that, not only are my benefits secured for myself, but also for future generations, to include if I pass before my spouse, after I'm gone. So now that's huge. So now I appreciate that. So with MOAA, Tony, what are we missing that you love to highlight?
Yeah, yes. Rich really summed it up nicely. He hit all three of MOA's primary mission areas: advocacy, the number one, philanthropic activities and community service, and then camaraderie. He nailed them all. I'll say, MOAA, the Military Officers Association of America, we're an organization of officers, but we're not about officers. And that's true in our advocacy efforts. That really represents itself. When we advocate for all service members, regardless of rank, regardless of status. So officer, enlisted, active duty, retired, former, surviving spouses, and family members. Our priorities hit them all, and our most recent ones, if they don't cover the broad base of everybody, all of them, lots of them, or many of them have been specifically for the enlisted force, or impacting the enlisted force most. So it's wonderful. And even Rich mentioned the scholarships. The MOAA Foundation is phenomenal with the Crisis Relief Fund provides monetary assistance to those military members and veterans, again, regardless of rank, in times of financial hardship or crisis, like the hurricanes we had here in Florida last year, or the fires in Florida. So I highly encourage anybody eligible to join MOAA. You need to be either an active duty, former or retired officer, or a surviving spouse who want to join the club, the organization, excuse me. But it really services everybody. And then if you're not, just take a look at the MOAA page, MOAA.org, and look at those scholarship opportunities. Look at the MOAA Foundation. That's for everybody if you're a veteran. Yeah. Take a look at it. And then here in Nassau County, join Nassau County MOAA chapter, www.ncflmoa.org, and you can either join or donate to our chapter there and support our local scholarship.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate that. What we're going to do is take all that contact information, and we're going to put it into our show notes, and ensure we push it out to this greater audience out here. MOAA nationwide, actually internationally, there's chapters overseas, obviously, with our service members, so we highly encourage folks to join. And then, I love, Rich, what you've highlighted, and Tony, you've highlighted in the past, is, generations of officers that can mentor other officers while in uniform, vice waiting, because I think there's a misperception this is a retired officers association. The reality, which you've highlighted, Rich, is it is not. It is for all officers, and the ability to, just think about the opportunity to network and learn from other folks while still in uniform with other people in uniform, or vice versa. And as I told somebody, it was ironic to see some of the talent that we have here in the Jacksonville, Northeast Florida areas, that whole Mr. Roger, who are the people in your neighborhood. You might learn who are your people in your neighborhood just by joining MOAA and showing up at your chapter, meeting, and then going, wow, I didn't realize you were doing, the following things, and that could be philanthropic or that could be business related. So, gentlemen, again, thank you for your service to the nation, and look forward to staying in contact.
Hey, Chris, one point I do
yes, sir.
Hope I can just make. Well, I'll make 2 points, and I'll make them rather quick. Yeah. While in uniform, I worked for the Chief of Naval Personnel, and one of the jobs that fell upon me was kind of getting these requests from outside, and I could not believe the number of spouses who had survived their service member who had questions. And one of the areas, that was, we would do as much as we could to take care of them, get those questions answered, but MOAA was always one of the areas that we pushed. And then another aspect I just wanted to bring was the executive transition program that MOAA provides. I benefited from it, being able to sit there and talk about some things. I push a lot of folks in uniform who are coming to the end of their service there, because I want everyone to realize their worth and know where they can find value outside of their uniform service, because there's a spot and a place where everything you have learned, again, whether it's an initial tour in the military or an entire career, where you can be beneficial to our workforce. So 2 points that I wanted to just
No, I appreciate you hammering those in. Those are gigantic, for both instances. And then the fact that a lot of times, even with my own, when my father passed away, my mother, having questions, right? I mean, my dad was in the Navy from 62 to 92, and, she didn't know. Of course, today with the internet, unfortunately now, as I told somebody in the VA on the phone yesterday, the problem with the internet now, there's so much information, trying to navigate what I really need to know becomes a problem. And back then, of course, with my mother, it was down to having enough information. So having a resource like MOAA to help and answer those questions is, I appreciate you pulling that to the surface. So thanks again, Rich. Thanks, Tony. Good seeing you.
Yeah, you as well.
All right, folks, we'll see you in our next segment. Live with gratitude.